Life has a way of surprising us. One day everything feels calm, the next day the winds pick up, and before you know it, you're in the middle of a storm. It could be a financial storm, a health storm, a relationship storm, or even a storm in your own mind. And the question is not, will storms come? The answer to that is yes. The real question is, how steady will you be when they do? I've watched people go through the same storm with completely different outcomes. One comes out stronger, wiser, even grateful. The other comes out bitter, broken, defeated. Now, what makes the difference? It's not the storm. They both faced the same wind. The difference is steadiness, the ability to hold your ground when the world is shaking around you. And here's what I've learned. Steadiness is not luck. It's not a gift handed to a chosen few. Steadiness is built. It's built out of disciplines, decisions, and daily habits. It's built out of philosophy, how you choose to think about life when it doesn't go your way. Most of all, steadiness is built before the storm arrives. You don't build strength in the middle of the hurricane. You build it in the quiet times. So when the storm comes, you're ready. Now let me tell you something personal. In my 20s, when I wasn't prepared, every setback shook me to the core. A missed paycheck, a lost opportunity, a bit of criticism. Any little thing could throw me off course for weeks. I didn't have a strong center. I was all reaction, no foundation. But later I discovered that if you don't anchor yourself to principles, you'll always be tossed around by circumstances. And the world is full of circumstances. Think about a tree. A tree doesn't avoid storms, but if its roots go deep, the storm may bend it, but it won't break it. If its roots are shallow, the first strong wind takes it down. People are the same. Some live shallow, caught up in the latest news, the latest opinion, the latest trend. Others live rooted in values, in disciplines, in vision. That's the difference between breaking and bending. Now, I know when the storm is howling, it's not easy to stay calm. Fear rises up, doubt creeps in, anxiety takes over. But that's when steadiness matters most, not when the sun is shining and the waters are calm. That doesn't test you. Steadiness shows its value when the pressure is high, when the stakes are real, when everything in you wants to panic. That's the moment you decide whether you'll be like everyone else or whether you'll stand strong. And here's what steadiness does. It buys you time. While others are rushing, reacting, running in circles, steadiness gives you the space to think, to plan, to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. It doesn't mean you don't feel the storm. It means the storm doesn't own you. And once you realize the storm doesn't own you, you begin to discover a quiet confidence that changes everything. So tell me, where do you need more steadiness? Is it in your money? Is it in your health? Is it in your relationships? Is it in your own emotions? Wherever the storm is likely to blow, that's where you need roots. That's where you need discipline. That's where you need a steady hand on the wheel. Because life will keep sending storms. But if you learn how to stand steady, you won't just survive them, you'll use them to grow stronger. One of the best questions you can ask yourself in tough times is this: what am I built on? Because when the storm hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your foundation. And if the foundation is weak, the fall is hard. If the foundation is strong, you may get shaken, but you'll still be standing when the storm passes. So what makes a strong foundation? Let me give you one word: philosophy. How you choose to see life. Not how life is, but how you interpret it. Two people can face the same setback. One says, "This is the end." The other says, "This is a lesson." Which one will recover? The one whose philosophy turns trouble into teaching. Storms are not just obstacles, they are instructors. They reveal what you've neglected and they sharpen what you've practiced. I remember sitting with a man who had lost nearly everything in a financial downturn. He said, "Mr. Rohn, I feel like the storm took it all." I said, "No, the storm only revealed what was never secure to begin with. What's left, that's the real foundation." Sometimes the storm strips away the illusion and leaves only the truth. And if you can face the truth, you can build again. You can build better. But only if your philosophy says that it's not the end. Your philosophy should be reminding you that it's a beginning. Now, how can we make this practical? Steadiness is built by disciplines, small, daily disciplines that make you stronger than circumstances. When the storm of debt comes, what keeps you steady? The discipline of budgeting, saving, and living within your means. When the storm of poor health comes, what keeps you steady? The discipline of eating right, moving your body, getting rest. When the storm of discouragement comes, what keeps you steady? The discipline of reading, listening, and feeding your mind with something better than the fear around you. Disciplines are roots, and the deeper the roots, the steadier the tree. People ask me all the time, "Mr. Rohn, how do I keep calm when everything is falling apart?" Here's the answer. Prepare before it falls apart. If you don't practice calm in small matters, you won't find it in big matters. If you don't discipline your emotions when the little things upset you, the big things will overwhelm you. Steadiness is like a muscle. You don't wait for the heavy storm to build it. You build it in advance, little by little, so when the weight comes, you can carry it. But here's something important that we can't forget. Storms don't just test your strength, they test your character. Will you cut corners when the pressure is high? Will you compromise your values to escape the difficulty? Or will you stand firm, even if it costs you? That's steadiness. And let me tell you, people respect steadiness. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, they draw confidence from your calm. In stormy times, people are looking for someone who won't panic. Be that person. Be the steady one. And here's what happens when you practice steadiness. The storm doesn't shrink you. It grows you. It gives you stories to tell, wisdom to share, and confidence you can't buy any other way. After you've stood steady once, the next storm doesn't scare you as much. You say, "I've been here before. I know what it feels like. I know I can make it." That's strength earned, and nobody can take it from you. So don't resent the storm. Respect it. Use it. Let it teach you what needs deeper roots. Let it remind you what really matters. And most of all, let it reveal the steadiness you've been building all along. Because when you walk out of the storm, you'll be stronger than you were when you walked in. One of the secrets to staying steady is learning how to manage your emotions. Because when the storm comes, it's not just what happens around you that matters, it's what happens inside you. The outside storm can be strong, but the inside storm is the one that really determines the outcome. If you lose your calm, you lose your clarity. And when clarity is gone, decisions get sloppy, actions get rushed, and the storm does more damage than it should. Now, if I'm being honest, I wasn't always good at this. There were times when a little setback threw me into a tailspin. I would overreact, I would panic, and I would let fear dictate my next move. And you know what fear produces? More mistakes. The storm outside was bad enough, but I was doubling it with a storm inside. It took me years to realize. The first thing you must manage in a crisis is yourself. If you can steady your mind, you can steady your actions. Here's a simple truth. You don't make your best decisions when you're emotional. You make them when you're calm, steady, and clear-headed. That's why it's dangerous to let anger, fear, or frustration take the wheel. They always drive you into a ditch. So the goal is not to eliminate emotion. You can't do that. The goal is to discipline it, to keep it from running wild. To let reason guide emotion instead of emotion hijacking reason. I once talked with a businessman who faced a serious downturn. He told me he felt like he was about to lose everything. I asked him what the first thing he had lost was. He thought for a moment and admitted it was his peace of mind. I told him that was the most dangerous loss, because if you lose that, you'll lose everything else. But if you regain it, you can start rebuilding. That's the principle. Peace of mind in the storm is not optional. It's essential. How do you build that peace? By feeding your mind the right material. In tough times, don't drown in bad news. Don't surround yourself with complainers. That only fuels the storm inside. Instead, listen to good words. Read good books. Associate with people who lift you up, not drag you down. Because in stormy times, your associations matter more than ever. The wrong voices make the storm worse. The right voices steady your soul. Another practice is perspective. Ask yourself if this storm will matter 5 years from now. Probably not. It may hurt, it may cost, it may disrupt, but 5 years down the road, you'll hardly remember it. And if it will matter, then it deserves your best steadiness, not your worst panic. Either way, perspective reduces the noise. It shrinks the storm to its proper size. Now, don't confuse what I'm saying here. Steadiness doesn't mean pretending the storm isn't real. It doesn't mean denying pain, ignoring loss, or smiling through disaster. No, steadiness is about facing reality with courage. It's about deciding that the storm is real, but you're not giving it your peace. You'll do what you can, control what you can, and let go of what you can't. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. So remember, the storm outside may shake the walls, but don't let it shake your core. Guard your emotions. Protect your peace. Keep your perspective. Because if you win the battle inside, you can weather almost anything outside. And once you learn to keep calm in one storm, you'll never see storms the same way again. Steadiness comes from preparation. You don't wait until the storm arrives to start thinking about anchors and shelters. If you're wise, you prepare while the skies are still clear. Because if you wait for the emergency, you'll be caught scrambling. And scrambling under pressure rarely produces the best results. Preparation is what gives you confidence when the pressure hits. I've seen people who looked calm in the middle of chaos, and I used to always wonder how they did that. How lucky they are to be able to handle such a mess. Well, later on, I discovered it wasn't luck. It was preparation. They had savings in the bank, so a financial storm didn't drown them. They had skills in their pocket, so when one opportunity closed, they could open another. They had strong relationships, so when life knocked them down, they had hands ready to pull them up. That's steadiness by preparation, and anyone can build it, one decision at a time. Let's talk money for a moment. We all have a relationship with money. Some good, some bad, right? One of the best ways to stay steady in stormy times is to live by financial disciplines. Save a portion of every dollar. Don't spend it all, because storms don't send warnings. A job loss, a medical bill, a downturn in the economy, they arrive suddenly. And when they do, the person who is prepared can breathe easier. They're not immune, but they're steady. Preparation gives peace. The same goes for skills. If you only know one way to make a living, and that way gets disrupted, the storm feels catastrophic. But if you've prepared by learning new skills, by expanding your abilities, then one door closing is not the end. It's just a redirection. Preparation turns the storm from a dead end into a detour. And sometimes the detour leads to a better road. So preparation is not glamorous, but it's powerful. It's small daily acts of discipline that don't look urgent today, but make all the difference tomorrow. Setting something aside, learning something new, taking care of yourself, building bonds with others. Do these things when the sun is shining, and when the storm clouds gather, you'll have the calm of someone who knows they're ready. Now, don't let this discourage you if you've been caught unprepared before. We've all been there. The key is to learn from it. If the last storm left you shaken, use that as motivation to prepare for the next one. Because storms don't stop. Life keeps sending them. The question is, will you be stronger next time?